guys, and welcome back. So you've been working on your table saw for a little while. You've been doing cross cutting. So you have your certain blade in your table saw. In my case it would be my fine cross cut, and now you need to go to a rip blade. So what's the safe way to do it? Are you going to do it just haphazard, or are you going to do it properly? Today I'm going to run through some easy steps for those of you who may not know on a safer way to change your table saw blade. So let's get to it. Whenever working on any power tool, especially ones where you have to stick your hands in there to either change a bit or change a blade, rule number one, and I cannot stress this enough guys, please, please, please unplug it. This way you know that it's not going to turn on when your hands are in there, because I can guarantee you that'll be disastrous. The next thing that I like to do whenever I'm changing a bit or a blade, and it's something that I recommend, it's up to you guys whether or not you want to do it, but it is a good practice. After you've unplugged it, turn the power on and off to your tool. If she doesn't fire up, you know you've unplugged the correct cord. It has happened in the past that I've accidentally unplugged the wrong one, and when I flicked the switch, the tool fired up. So we've unplugged the tool, we've tested it to make sure that it can't turn on, and now it's time to get to changing our blade. I've got my fine crosscut blade in here, and what I need is my ripping blade. So first things first, you have to remove your throat plate. Whether it's a zero clearance insert, or whether it's a dado insert, or whether it's the factory one that came with your saw, you can't access the arbor while this plate is still intact. Each saw is different. For this particular one, it's just a matter of removing this screw which holds the insert in, and then popping out your plate. Now you have full access to the inside where your blade is. The next step for me in changing this blade is we want to crank this blade all the way up as high as she'll go. So you'll use your blade adjustment at the front of your saw and just take it up till she's as high of a cut as you're going to get. So we've got the blade raised all the way up. Now we have to loosen the retaining nut that holds it onto the arbor. I use the factory wrenches on this, but I don't like their flimsiness, so what I've done is taken two rare earth magnets and I've joined them together so it's almost like a double thickness wrench. Gives a little more rigidity and gives you a little more torque to be able to loosen this off. Now there's several ways that you can do this. For me, I have one of these little guys and I got it dirt cheap at a woodworking show. Bottom line is you just sit it here on your blade and you can hold your blade without injuring your fingers as you're loosening off the retaining nut. Another way to do it as well is to block your blade with a scrap piece of lumber. You can just place the lumber right there and just loosen off your blade. The retaining nut is loosened off, so at this point in time you just want to fully remove the nut and the washer that keeps the blade in place. From there you can just carefully remove your blade. Don't place this down in your table saw at this point. You can damage the edge of your teeth. It is possible to get sawdust in through the threads of your arbor. So you want to check that just to make sure that there isn't any stuck and jammed in the threads of this arbor. I have a soft brass brush that I use, and if there is any, you can just give it a little cleaning to get them out. You don't have to really scrub at it. It's only sawdust and it will come out fairly easily. The next step, of course, is to install your new blade. This is my ripping blade. You want to make sure that you've got the rotation the correct way, with the teeth cutting towards the operator. Once you have the blade put in, replace your retaining washer and replace your nut. Just hand tight for now is fine. The ripping blade is put in hand tight on the retaining nut. Just going to separate the two wrenches. One goes on the one half of the arbor, the other goes on the other half, and you just want to give it just a little snug. The blade is in, the blade is tight. Now you want to replace your throat plate. Just reverse the way that you took it out. Throat plate in, and tighten down the mounting screw. A lot of the throat plates you want to be careful with, because again, if you over tighten this screw, it will buckle the plate and not give you a flat surface to run your stock over while you're ripping it. And for me, of course, the final test is to check that the blade is square. You're pulling around on that arbor and you're tightening things, loosening things. It is possible to throw things out of calibration, but we can see here that after checking it, this blade is still bang on, and we can continue with quality cuts knowing that our blade is square. And of course, the final step, you can plug it back in now and you're ready to go. And there you have it, from crosscut blade to ripping blade in about 1.5 to 2 minutes. All of it done safely with no risk of any damage to my hands. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's video. For some of you it may be a refresher or old hat, but there are those of us out there that are just starting in this hobby and they may never have been shown how to do it properly and safely. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's video, and join me again next week for another woodworking video. Thanks for watching.